Good evening and welcome to the SVG TV News for Thursday, March 9th. I'm Khalil Kato with the details. With efforts being made to develop SVG's tourism product, one of the issues of concern is room stock, which is expected to be increased with a number of hotel projects on stream. On Tuesday on NBC Radio, Chief Executive Officer of the SVG Tourism Authority, Glenn Beach, said there is currently a room stock of 2,200 in SVG. However, this number needs to be around 3,500 to 4,000 or above to be comfortable as the island's tourism industry continues to develop.
We're very much on the way there with the new investments that are taking place. And we always speak about the Sandals, Royal Mills, Myers, and so on. But a lot of other properties that are already here will be expanding. The Beachcombers, Mariners just redid half of their rooms. Paradise Inn is going to be expanding. So we see that. We see Beckwood Beach Hotel, which is a lovely property in Beck, how well they do, right? But you have to put yourself out there to get it done. We can do certain types of marketing, but the hoteliers have to put themselves out there too. We had a meeting with American Airlines Vacations last week, and they were looking at properties. We just sent them a list of some of the top properties that we think would work with what their branding is. But once we can get to that 3,500, 4,000 rooms, and I'll probably go over that eventually, because I think St. Vincent and the Grenadines is I think the only product that compares to us in terms of diversity in the Caribbean is Jamaica. I don't think any of the others compare to us in terms of diversity, and I think we're well on our way there.
Beach also noted that one of the biggest weaknesses of SVG's tourism product right now is customer service, which every stakeholder in the industry must get right.
Now, ands or ifs about it. The hoteliers complain in terms of getting people, but you know, it's finding that balance in terms of certain things. I do think the pay for those providing service can be better in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But we have to fix all these things, and it's not an overnight fix. And a lot of times we have to be aware of what's going on around us, what's going on with the competition. We work very closely with our sister islands in the Caribbean and in CARICOM, but at the same time they are our competition. Mm-hmm. So we have to make sure we're better than them in a lot of aspects. But as we continue to grow as a tourism destination, and I think one of the great things about St. Vincent and the Grenadines is that we don't depend solely and wholly on tourism. Agriculture is a huge part of it.
The Tourism Authority CEO said Vincentians also need to be mindful of what they post online about SVG.
Because everything can't revolve around politics.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, St. Vincent and the Grenadines isn't perfect, but I'm telling you straight, I've lived in a lot of places around this world, including the same New York that a lot of our diaspora live in, Toronto, which I consider my second home, England. I've lived in all these places and some others. There's certain things those places have that are better than us, but there are a lot of things that we have that are better than them. I have friends who come down here from Toronto to do their dental work because it's cheaper and it's better, just as good as Toronto. And so, yeah, there are things we can improve on, but also, yes, there are a lot of things that we are just amazing at.
All right.
The Promoting Youth Micro Enterprises Prime program is ongoing, with continuous assessments taking place for applicants divided into two categories: persons up to the age of 40 and those above. The program seeks to contribute to the empowerment of young people, alleviation of poverty, enablement of entrepreneurship, and the creation of new businesses with financial resources and managerial support services provided to promising micro enterprises and startups. Providing an update on radio yesterday, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said monies were paid out to some successful applicants in January, and more payouts are expected to be made this month or in early April.
Lots of people are applying, and you have a lot of successes. Of course, Johnny P, in any such endeavor, you will have some people who have not done well at the business with the startup. It's in the nature of business and in the nature of life and living and production that you'll have some who would not do what they envisaged,
Right.
what they had planned to do. But overwhelmingly, in all areas of business, the prime recipients are doing quite well. And so through prime, there's a proliferation of small businesses by young people. A lot of them are women who are striking out and build their own independence. And, you know, all that is for the better.
On the volcanic eruption emergency project, VEEP, Prime Minister Gonzalez said some of the activities under the project might have to be scaled back given the increase in prices for a lot of things in construction.
The money can't cover all what had been planned to be done. And both the World Bank and ourselves realize that because of the increased cost of construction and materials and equipment and the like. And the second thing is this, is that the VEEP comprise largely a grant, largely a loan from the World Bank under IDA, International Development Association, where the money is 45 years at 3/4 percentage point interest. Very, very cheap money. But it also has a European Union grant in it of $5.4 million. But we have lost on the exchange rate from the European Union because the money is in euros now, and it takes more euros to get US dollars.
Okay.
Okay. So when you lose on the exchange rate, persons wouldn't realize that thus far we have lost over $300,000 US on the exchange rate.
The Prime Minister said another major project that is ongoing is the strengthening of the island's health resilience system with an overall budget of just over $100 million, with the OPEC Fund for International Development providing a small part of the money and the majority coming from the World Bank.
It's under this that the central project of nearly $90 million is the construction of the Arnesville Acute Care Hospital. And we are hoping, I've spoken about that before, I'm hoping that we can actually start work by October this year. That is the 132-bed hospital out at Arnesville, and we have spoken about that before. So we had a discussion yesterday as to where we are, how we are proceeding, and all of these projects are proceeding well. You know, you'll have hiccups in the preparation on this or that issue, but things are going well. In addition to the constructing the hospital there under this project, we have to strengthen the health system. Building the hospital, important as it is, and equipping it, we have to do things like fashioning a hospital strategic plan. You have to develop and implement a transition plan. Some of the things which we have to move, most of the things we're moving from Milton Cato to out there, though we keep keeping some things at Milton Cato. Then, you know, we have to do things like improve the hospital management information system, the waste management strategy for the healthcare, updating the National Health Sector Strategic Plan. And
a graduation ceremony was held yesterday at the NIS conference room for farmers and fisherfolk trained under the FAO Amexid Resilient School Feeding Program for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A total of 33 females and 24 males graduated after successfully completing the training. The project was funded by the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations and implemented by the Inter-American Institute for Agriculture, ICA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries and Rural Transformation. It comprised of two components, with Component 1 addressing the training of farmers and fisherfolk to position themselves as potential suppliers of the school feeding program, and Component 2 addressing school garden development at selected primary schools across the country. The program was implemented over the period March 15th to December 31st, 2022. The Ministry of Agriculture said the graduation ceremony yesterday was the final action of the initiative and involved the presentation of certificates to participation, that should be certificates of participation, to farmers and fisherfolk who took part in the program. Addressing the graduation ceremony, Chief Agricultural Officer Renato Gums said education is critical to bringing persons out of poverty, and with a lot of financially challenged households in SVG, these programs help to provide the sort of support needed.
The key thing is that if you're gonna educate someone to bring them out of poverty, they must have the ability to learn. And programs like these, which are the school feeding program, are geared at providing some nutritional support to the children, which would enable them to learn what is being taught. And that's one thing we have to remember about this program. So it's not just a school feeding program, it's a program with a long-term objective. Now, this program, I know what have imparted some knowledge, some skills to the different folks, including the children, and we hope that the information imparted, the knowledge imparted, will be with them forever as in their whole journey through life.
Also at Wednesday's graduation ceremony, the manual produced as part of the school garden component of the program was presented to stakeholders, including the Ministry of Education. The manual is entitled A Practical Guide to School Gardening Experiences from Establishing Vegetable Gardens in 6 Primary Schools in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Technical specialist with ICA, Michael Dalton, in his address at the ceremony, said he is happy that they were able to complete the components under the program.
All 6 school gardens were established and are still in operation at Newgrounds, Argyle, Canaan, Paget Farm, Spring Village and Fair Hall Primary Schools. And as much as we feared losing some of them through stock trespass and predator larceny, among other ills, our fears were mostly unfounded, and we were able to establish and harvest in all cases, and with only few setbacks. The manual on school gardening that we were able to develop and that we would present to the Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation today is based largely on some of the above experiences we gained from those activities, which have brought us to this point. Now, our second output had to do with the training of farmers and fishers. A target of 70 persons in all who were to participate in training from August to December last year. The farmers were subdivided according to agricultural regions, while the fishers were drawn from across various cooperatives. Over the course of the next several months, we undertook a series of training with the farmers, covering in the classroom sessions food safety, compost production, post-harvest management, irrigation for small-scale agriculture, agribusiness management. All of these training activities were repeated across the 3 groups of farmers in each of the agricultural regions. We also established demonstration plots, 1 in each region, with participating farmers to allow for training in the practical aspects, looking at varietal selection, land preparation, spacing, fertilizing, harvesting, to really reinforce the things taught in the classroom and bring attention to other critical issues of production. On the fishery side, we confined our work mainly to the training on food safety and agribusiness management.
Dalton said they have completed in large part the training as envisioned, but he believes the need to clear the final hurdle to link the producers to the school feeding program as suppliers, which he said is the challenge ahead.
Yet, here we are. I always say knowledge is powerful, but especially when actioned. Knowledge is potential, but it has to be action to create the change that we need for the better. So I want to congratulate you all who are here, meaning that you have completed at least 60% of the training. Put this to use in all your endeavors in your business of farming. Thanks to education and to the schools and the principals and the teachers at the schools for their invaluable support in making the gardens work. And the farmers, without without you all, this nothing happening. Farmers and fisher folk, thank you all for your participation in the program and for seeing it through. I know sometimes we were having these activities like one after the other, and I know taking a day off the farm, it's not an easy thing, and I appreciated the fact that you were so interested in acquiring the knowledge and that you wanted to be a part of the program. So thank you all very much.
The first in a series of town hall meetings was held on Tuesday this week at the Bayabu Learning Resource Center to sensitize Vincentians about their rights and responsibilities in accordance with the Consumer Protection Act of 2020 as consumers of goods and services. Area Representative and Minister with Responsibility for Consumer Affairs, Frederick Stevenson, said the Consumer Protection Act 2020 is a very important piece of legislation because it not only protects the consumer, but also protects the business operators. Director of Consumer Affairs and Internal Trade, Clarence Harry, told the residents of Bayabu and surrounding communities that SVG's Consumer Protection Act 2020 sets the framework for the way consumers and operators should function in the marketplace. 2 other town hall meetings have been held since by the Department of Consumer Affairs. One was held yesterday in Mesopotamia at the Hebron Gospel Chapel, and the other today in Layu at the Louis Straker Learning Resource Center. The events also form part of activities to observe World Consumer Rights Day, March 15th. The local theme for this year's observance is empowering consumers through the promotion of consumers' interests. The 10th International Garifuna Conference opened today at the NIS Conference Room under the theme From Reaction to Action, Challenges and Opportunities for Promoting Reparatory Justice for Indigenous Peoples. The conference, which will run from today to March 11th, is being hosted by the Garifuna Heritage Foundation in collaboration with the University of the West Indies Open Campus. The conference is being conducted in a hybrid modality, face-to-face and virtually. Addressing the opening ceremony, Minister of Tourism and Culture, Carlos James, noted that the conference is being held at a time when there are a lot of discussions locally, regionally and internationally on reparatory justice for native genocide.
And particularly, how do we carve out the agenda for indigenous peoples across the world, those who are descendants of our native and indigenous people of Garifuna and Kalinago descent here in Urumi, and how do we present a case that is compelling, one that is sound academically and scientifically, and also importantly legally, and how do we present and we put this in the global context of reparations and the importance of correcting, most importantly, a wrong, and also importantly, having a formal, full apology to native genocide and the atrocities which was caused upon the people of our indigenous Urumi.
Minister James also told the participants that they must also go back as in the context of the past, from the struggles of a free people to the period of colonialism and where we have emerged as a Caribbean civilization.
And how do we create this Caribbean civilization fashioned from the fabric of our cultural distinctiveness as a people. We do this through our collective exercise of intellect, imagination, or creativity in the form of the drumming, the dance, the art form, and several expressions that connect us no matter where you are in the world. Connect us back home to Europe. Connect us back to our ancestors. And we do all of these things in the context of the challenges that we have emerged from a period of slavery, and of course what we will consider to be one of the harsh actions taken by the indigenous people of Europe, who spent some time here from leaving mainland to Baliso, where many of them suffered, died, and then later transferred to other parts of the South American and Caribbean basin, Belize and Guatemala, Honduras, and so on.
Also at the opening ceremony of the conference, Zoila Ellis Brown of the Garifuna Heritage Foundation gave recognition to the retired head of the UWI Open Campus, Deborah Dalrymple, for her contribution to the hosting of the international conference over the years.
In the process of planning the 3rd International Garifuna Conference in 2016, the planning committee approached the UWI Open Campus for support and collaboration. Mrs. Dalrymple was immediately open and very responsive to our request. And since then, the UWI Open Campus has been an extremely supportive partner in the planning and implementation of our conference. Mrs. Dalrymple is a goal-oriented thinker with excellent leadership ability, enthusiasm, dynamism, warmth, intuition, persuasiveness, and professionalism. She has contributed greatly to our work, and now that she has retired, on behalf of all of us at the Garifuna Heritage Foundation, we are pleased to present her a small token of appreciation for her contribution as head of site. We hope that she will continue to participate in the activities organized by the foundation, and we wish her all the best in all her future endeavors. Ms. D, we love you.
The conference will continue tomorrow with 2 other keynote addresses and a panel discussion on the topic Elements of Reparatory Justice for Indigenous People in the Caribbean. Presentations will be delivered by participants from Belize, Dominica, Suriname, Guyana, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On Saturday, March 11th, the final day of the conference, a keynote address will be delivered by Professor Anna Filipa Vildoriak, Professor of Law of the Faculty of Law and the UNESCO Chair of International Law and Cultural Heritage at the University of Technology, Sydney, Australia. This will be followed by presentations by overseas delegates drawn from the Garifuna diaspora. The closing keynote address will be delivered by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. The conference will end with a closing ceremony on Saturday evening. Approximately 200 young musicians will make their presentations at the Secondary School Bands Showcase scheduled for March 25th at the Cruise Ship Terminal lawn. On Tuesday, a media briefing was held at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Cooperative Credit Union SVGTCCU headquarters to unveil plans for the 2023 Secondary School Bands Showcase. Cultural Ambassador and Coordinator of the School Band Showcase, Rodney Small, said students will have the opportunity to perform for passengers of one of the largest cruise lines docked at Port Kingstown on that day. Small indicated that schools will select from a pool of genres, including reggae, gospel, Motown, calypso, soca, parang, dancehall, and R&B.
This year, the National School Band Showcase theme and concept is called Essence, allowing our students to have a greater appreciation for different styles of music, showing them how we all are connected. Each school band will be allowed to pull a different genre and style of music out of a bag, which was done already, where they would then prepare their presentation and performance around that genre and style of music. The performance must reflect elements that is associated with the style and the genre of music selected. Each school band would perform for 15 minutes. All bands must create a 40-second jingle with information from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Credit Union Limited, which would be a judge segment. The genres and styles that were selected includes calypso, raga soca, soca, folk, R&B, soul, slow jams, parang, dancehall, clean dancehall, reggae, all styles, gospel, and Motown. Today marks the day that we are launching the annual SVGTCCU, Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development and Culture, and the Ministry of Education National Secondary School Band Showcase, preparing to showcase approximately 200 young and upcoming musicians in their individual elements. I urge you to take these stats very seriously, because it is also indicating that there's a great demand for music within our schools.
Meanwhile, Education Officer with responsibility for music, Dexter Bacchus, said the Secondary School Band Showcase is part of nation building because seeds are being planted for future generations. Bacchus also used the opportunity to praise Vincentian musician Geoff Venner for his contribution towards the growth and development of many local musicians.
Within the 90s, the then Mr. Geoff Venner, who I think is an unsung hero and should be recognized nationally for his efforts in the development of music, who has played a part in the lives of almost all musicians here in St. Vincent. I can say that without blinking. Every musician, either directly or indirectly, has been influenced by Mr. Geoff Venner in the last 20 or so years. Through sponsorship from the UNESCO grant program, started the National School Band in the early 90s, up to about 98, where the band was disbanded for different reasons. These bands have seen many musicians who have traveled, who perform locally, who are now members of bands internationally, who play on ships, who do things all over the world. Mr. Venner did something very important, and it will bring me to my other point. Mr. Venner made sure there was a safe place for school students and those who are not school students but of school age, a comfortable, secure place to play and to learn the art of music, of which I was a member of the National Youth Band, as pointed out by the previous speaker. At that time, I did not envision or know that I'd be standing here today as the education officer responsible for music. All I knew at the time, it was something to do, something positive, something other than wasting time, something that would develop me as a holistically and prepare me for the future. So it brings me to this point. What is happening here today is not just for show and for entertainment, but is part of our nation building effort. You might not see the seeds that are being sown today, but I assure you, there are positive seeds being sown. 20 years down the road, we're gonna have somebody collecting a Grammy, and they're gonna say, we started in the National School Band Showcase, or we started in school.
Chief Executive Officer of the SVGTCCU, Jasmine Huggins-Daly, in her remarks, recognized Ezekiel Richards of the SVGTCCU for championing the Secondary School Band Showcase from inception. Huggins-Daly said great performances are anticipated this year and expressed the hope that the showcase will facilitate emerging events such as Clash of the Bands and School Bands meets School Steel Pans.
It seems like it was just yesterday that the marketing department of the SVGTCCU, led by then manager Brother Ezekiel Richards, presented a very creative proposal to boost encouragement with the youth within our schools. Brother Richards, being a musician, understood the importance of harnessing the young minds and exposing their talents to the world. He worked diligently to ensure the creation of the school bands showcase and the involvement of the secondary schools in this activity. He championed this activity within the credit union and with our partners, and made it possible for it to gain greater traction year after year before handing over the baton to Sister Minister York Nichols. At a point where the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, through the efforts of Mr. Rodney Small, was so captivated with the showcase that they have continued to partner with us in its execution. Today, we have the full support of the Ministry of Culture and the Ministry of Education. Those also of our students, their parents, the teachers, and the principals, as well as the loyal members at home and abroad, and the general public. The credit union is proud to be a part of this event. We understand the pressures that our young people are experiencing, hence the reason we have stayed committed to this cause, knowing that our commitment can and will make a difference in the life of our young people. Indeed, this showcase is near and dear to all of our hearts, having had a perfectly timed initial execution in our 40th year milestone. And here we are celebrating 2 milestones 5 years later, the 5th anniversary of the showcase and the 45th anniversary of the SVGTCCU. The success of this event is not just the increase in the number of bands participating in the showcase, but it is a testament of the incredible impact that you, our youths, can make on the future. You can break down barriers, not only in the arts, but across our nation as a whole. Playing an instrument is not just a fashion, but an art, a gift, a talent that needs to be molded, exposed, and nourished.
The schools in this year's showcase will include the Bishop's College Kingstown, the J.P. Eustace Memorial Secondary, St. Vincent Grammar School, St. Martin Secondary, Central Leewood Secondary, Emmanuel High School Mesopotamia, Bethel High School, West St. George Secondary, Intermediate High, Sandy Bay Secondary, the St. Vincent Girls High School, St. Joseph's Convent Kingstown, the North Union Secondary, and Union Island Secondary. Organizers say patrons at the band showcase on March 25th will enter free of cost, but donations are accepted. A craft fair at 11 a.m. will precede the performances by the school bands, which is expected to commence at 3 p.m. The Simply Help Foundation of Taiwan donated a 40-foot container stacked with clothes, books, and other supplies to the government of St. Vincent. That should be the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines on Wednesday. A release from the Agency for Public Information, API, said delivering remarks at a short handing over ceremony on Wednesday at the Camden Park Community Center, Taiwan's ambassador to SVG, His Excellency Peter Shalilan, expressed delight that the Taiwan branch of the non-profit organization was able to ship supplies to SVG. Minister of National Mobilization, Social Development, Family, Gender Affairs, Youth, Housing, and Informal Human Settlement, Orlando Brewster, received the donation on behalf of the government. The minister thanked the Simply Help Foundation and the Republic of China, Taiwan, for their generosity and willingness to support the people, to provide support to the people of SVG. Brewster added that the donation was facilitated through the Ministry of National Mobilization. He further announced that a 20-foot container of additional supplies is expected to arrive soon. Minister Brewster said that the non-profit organization has assisted SVG in the past, and the 40-foot container of supplies will go a long way to improve the lives and livelihoods in SVG. The Simply Help Foundation was founded by Tina Bow in 2000 and has establishments in over 30 countries. A guider with the Girl Guides Association of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Tamira Brown, says the term women and power are not incompatible concepts, as she expressed the view that women are shining in traditional and non-traditional fields. Brown was speaking to SVG TV News in a telephone interview on the occasion of International Women's Day, which was observed here in SVG and around the globe yesterday.
And not incompatible concepts. If I use three common examples of social power as wealth, fame, and lawmaking, we recognize more and more women are occupying managerial positions locally and owning businesses too. We recognize that women are shining in traditional and non-traditional fields. I mean, I can speak of Kamisa Blake, who is the superintendent of police of the Royal St. Vincent Police Force, and that was considered a space that was traditionally male-dominated. I can speak of the Honorable Rochelle Ford, the first female Speaker of the House of Assembly in SVG. I can speak of the fact that across the public service, in St. Vincent the Grenadines, the majority of permanent secretaries are female. We are making strides, and we are definitely occupying places of power. With more and more women occupying positions of power, this would translate to more and more to the empowerment of girls and young women in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Brown said while she has not experienced any barriers in her career, being a female, there is a general view in society that females are less capable than men and males of commanding a team of individuals.
I have not experienced that. However, that is not to say that many women are still affected by discrimination in the workplace. There's still a sentiment, though not a prevailing sentiment, where some employers assume women are more emotional, more apt to miss work to care for families, and less capable of commanding a team of diversified individuals. Also, there are the issues, the family life issues, and women may believe that they have to consider the ages of their children and the amount of time they have available before they decide to pursue certain career paths. Now, we are seeing more progressive institutions offering flexible work schedules to help accommodate the needs of working women who may struggle to balance their careers and family responsibilities. They offer mentoring programs which are designed to increase career development for women, and institutions now are generally looking at policies aimed at eliminating gender discrimination. I think it is important that we are also seeing training on-site during workdays to accommodate women who could not otherwise participate in various training activities for their career advance. There are now, too, more females in upper management who serve as role models for the rest of the staff. And these are some ways we can break down the barriers for women in the workplace generally.
Brown said she is a strong advocate for women and girls who are breaking barriers in society.
On this International Women's Day, let's make sure women and girls have opportunities to shape policies, services, and infrastructure that impact all our lives. And I think as a society, we should support women and girls who are breaking down barriers to create a better space for everyone.